Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Yeah. And so now, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those if we have
Okay,
time for that.
excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's give some shout out to James. Thank you. We have some questions already. Let's
Okay,
start
great.
with Oyinkan in the house. Okay. And the question is, you mentioned average deduction around 1,000 per acre. Does that apply to all Texas region and on all property like 12 acres? Is it same range?
Yeah. So our average deduction is actually about 1,700. Okay. So
Yeah.
almost twice as high as that. Um, yeah. So it's hard to say. The size of the acreage doesn't necessarily affect the price. It's more how fertile
The
that
region.
acreage is.
Okay. And I know you have this image. Let me go back to this. You kind
Okay.
of
Sure.
captured the region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of, and I took a look at our region. Most of us have properties are within Fanning, so I think it will be mostly within District 5 to 7-ish. So we might have
Yeah.
average
That's what
of
I was thinking.
1,700 or something like that. So
Yeah. And so, what Akin, was most of this land purchased in 25 for most of these, or
most of our projects have been from 21 to date.
okay, all right. So I will say anything 21 is usually pretty good. Fertilizer prices were pretty high. So on that slide, it mentions fertilizer prices, and I forgot to touch on that. So in 2025, fertilizer prices came down actually pretty significantly. So with a lower fertilizer price in 2025, any land purchased in 2025, it's probably going to be a little bit lower than what this average is showing here,
Okay.
because these were based on 2024 when we put these slides together. But I would still think, $1,100 to $1,300 an acre. So it's still very significant. So
Okay. So let me give you the typical scenario for most of our community. Most of the folks on our call, they own average of 12 acres to 24 acres. That's been
okay,
the range for most people. So let's say hypothetically, there's a saving of 1,700 per acre. So that might be 17 times 12, close to easily, let me do my math here, over 20 grand, I think.
uh-huh.
So with the 20 grand, it depends on the tax bracket you belong, right? Tell us a little
Right.
bit about how that works. So if somebody saves on, I'm just doing the numbers here. So 1,700 times 12. So let's say you have 20,400. So about 20
Uh-huh.
grand. So
And
what would
then
be
you'd
the
have your
cost savings?
tax
Yeah.
bracket. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that
I'm
would be
sorry.
dependent on your tax bracket, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay.
So then you subtract your tax bracket from that, which your CPA can help you with to get the actual true cost, right? And then your tax bracket would go into effect on the $40 an acre price as well. So it would reduce that price. And so then you
Okay.
would look at what your ROI is, your return on investment. How many dollars am I spending with Boa Safra, and how many am I getting back? So that's kind of the number you need to look at. And so you could always run a scenario by your CPA with, let's just say, $1,300 an acre, and let him know how much your basis is, meaning how much your land is valued at when you purchased it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And so the smaller the acreage you get, obviously the return's going to be smaller as well, right? Because you have things like, I have a smaller acreage, my CPA is going to have to now charge me to file this, little things like that are going to go into cost as well. So the smaller the acreage, then the smaller the deduction. The bigger the acreage, obviously there's more value there. So it kind of it multiplies as the acreage expands.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
hope that.
And from a conservative angle, even with if you're in the tax bracket of 35, we're talking about
Right.
35 by 20,000. So you still have almost 9,000 to 10,000 you're writing off.
Yep. And that's true dollar, right? So
Yeah.
Exactly. And then subtract out your Boa Safra fee from that. And
Which is about, in this case, for 12 acres, it's going to be about 12 times 40, or $80, right?
right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So somebody asks, is there any hidden fee beside the $40 an acre?
No, there's not. No,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Just
All
one
right.
simple fee, trying to make it as easy as possible. So if your CPA needs to reach out and talk to one of our CPAs, that's included with that as well. So
Okay. Excellent.
if
And
if and this is a huge if, I don't want to scare people. So if you were to get an audit, we support audits as well, and that's included in that fee as
excellent.
well.
Excellent. Okay. And I wrote my numbers down here. So out of about 4,500 different projects we've worked on, you've only had 5 to 6 audits, and all of them, there was no issue with those audits.
Correct, 100% success on those.
Okay.
And again, I
Excellent.
also want to emphasize the audit wasn't necessarily because they used this deduction. It was just it could be an audit
Standard.
in general, right? So
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, excellent. Do we have any other question, folks? I mean, James has really given us amazing time today, and I said, hey, he was gracious enough to say, hey, I would like to be there to meet your team, and so thank you, James, for making this happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. And if I can do maybe a 30-second, because this is the question
absolutely.
we get, and you mentioned it, was it's too good to be true. And
Yeah,
why haven't people been doing this? So it's been out there since 1960. And the reason it's coming to the forefront now, and I slightly mentioned this, was out of all the tax codes out there, it made zero sense in 1960 when your land wasn't expensive, your fertilizer prices weren't expensive, and you had to do all this work. A CPA would have to do all these soil analysis without technology, put it all together, takes them 6-7 months to get a one-time deduction. It just didn't make sense, right?
mm,
And now that we've discovered this tax code, and you have a company like ourselves that all we do is specialize in this one tax code, so we can streamline it, make it efficient, and send it over to the CPA so he has a report ready. Now it makes sense. So
excellent. Thank you so much. And our commitment to our community is always to bring value. And once we see some of the top-notch things out there, we can use to take advantage of the tax code. We always bring the team on. We also have one more question.
sure,
Somebody said, what about the land used for recreation? Will it qualify?
it will not.
Okay, that's an easy
So
one.
I hate to be so blunt, but it
Yeah.
won't. I don't want to get you in trouble. So if it's a recreational land, please don't apply this because that would get audited.
Okay, I have a question. So I know in our case, a lot of our projects, we have farmers that maintain our land, for example. So in those cases, and they apply fertilizers for everything they plant there. So in that case, would they be the ones to provide us the crop and fertilizer history for your team?
Yes, they'd probably have the best information on that. In the
Okay.
worst case scenario is if you don't have that information, we'll take the state average.
Okay.
Okay, so
Got
we'll
it.
just go by the state average. But if you're applying a lot of nutrients to really make that land fertile and soil, or that soil fertile, please keep records of it because you're spending money on that. And I'll tell you right now, the state average is going to be lower. So if you can
Yeah.
keep those records and let it show us what you've applied, that will
Oh,
help
I
get your
see.
number
Okay.
higher.
Okay. Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Any other question before we let James? James is gracious. He's in a conference right now and is gracious to take the time out. We have one more question. Somebody said,
Sure.
Section 180 is the natural fit here, but I want to use 175 instead of faster purpose. Let's see. So let's say section. Okay. Okay. The question is conventionally, section 180 is the natural fit, but what about if I want to use 179 instead for faster use within
Yeah,
the
so
IRS tax code?
so you can accelerate it. So
Okay.
yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
All
So
right.
your accountant, they would understand this. The accountant, that's where you'd come in and put the 3115, just a change of accounting practices, not an amendment, just a change of accounting practices, and then you can use the 178 or 179. And the 179, yes, is exactly what they're saying, the accelerated method.
Okay. So I think the follow-up question was there any additional risk exposure if you use either one of them, like 179 for expedited process?
Okay, say it one more time.
So for, I think she mentioned that for the faster process 179 tax code, is there any additional risk exposure using any of the
No,
tax
no.
code? Okay.
So some people, they'll do a 178 simply because they want the same amount every year and they just want a steady amount. 179 will come into play because maybe that first year they had a big windfall on income and they needed to deduct more. And then they
Okay.
just want to deduct more in that first year and then lower on the next year's out on the next amortization schedules.
Got it. Okay.
Does that make sense? Did I explain that? Or it made sense?
Wincon, are we good? Are you okay? All right. I think she is. Okay. Okay. I think she mentioned from your experience, is it worth it?
Is what?
Is it what? Okay. She's good. She says she's good. All right.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
And so, again, not an accountant. So your accountant would, that's why they're there to advise you which is the best way to file, right? So they're going to take a look at the whole profile, what income you've generated, and how to best use this, whether it's accelerated or 178, where it's just consistent across the board. So they might recommend a 3-year amortization. They might recommend a 7-year. So that please reach out to your CPA on that because that's what they're there for, is to make sure you're putting it in for the right use.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Any other question for James before we let him bounce back to his conference? And please, folks, this is going to be immediate. So for most of us, we want you all to use that referral link so that we can monitor at the back end also. And let's just start that process immediately and take advantage of this. We will too, as a community for sure, in our own projects too. I want to make sure everybody is also involved. So I'm going to send an intro to our investors specifically. You'll see us copy James, and you can start the process with them directly for our investors. For our new investors, we'll keep in the loop, and more to come. We'll keep educating and giving you information for sure. Any parting words, James, before we let you go?
No. So again, just we're acting as a third party here to help you with this process. We're not acting as actual CPAs or accountants. So please take those averages I told you. What you saw on the screen, I'd feel more comfortable. Let's go with 1,300 right now, just because a lot of you all bought land more recently. And run that by your CPA at a $1,300 an acre average. Here's how many acres I have. Here was my basis. Here's my tax bracket. Does this make sense, right? If we're putting in all this effort to save $500, I don't know if that's worth it, right? So I wanted to make sure it benefits you. So please run some of those situations by your CPA.
Yeah, and for us, James, the minimum, like I mentioned, is 12 acre owners or 11 acres owners.
Great.
Yeah. So we are good.
Okay. Yeah. So I just want to make sure the numbers make sense, right? So
yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, James. You are awesome.
Yeah.
And
so are you.
Sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. I appreciate the song and the great intro.
And I'll share the song with you too. And for those that didn't hear the song, we had this flagship song. I'll just play it before James leaves, and I'll have just one more comment before we leave.
Okay, sure.
Hands up high for the ones who stayed, kept that land when the storms got brave. Hands up high for the ones who did, turn that ground to a crown we share.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, James. Thank you so much, James. More to come.
Was there one more question? Or?
I think, let me see if I have any other question here. I think that was all we got, James, on our side.
Great.
And thank you so much. And
yeah, thank you all. Congratulations on the land acquisitions. It's a huge step. It's kind of the American dream now to own some land. So congratulations to all of you all. That's great.
Thank you, James, and thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, the final thing I'll show us, guys, and James said it. Our current project is a place called Roxton. So I'll just share the video real quick so you have an idea of what that town is. The big one for us here is in North Texas. Is crazy investment going on right now. If you are not aware of it, it's insane. Check it out. Shaman, Bodak Lake, Lake Crab, so much going on. So I'll share a video, And you can ask questions about this project. On paper, it's already filled, but just have a feel of what the project looks like. Rockston Tech. Let me share I'll share the video for us to see. You can see. All right, let me add it to the stage so you can just have a feel of that. So, vibe of the town.
Blue northern Bill can't tell it's dry. Bulldog the Mississippi.
This is the best tax shelter in Texas, and it's not made of paper. When you hold up to 11 acres in Rockston, you ain't just buying an asset. You're buying a fortress. Texas. At this size, you lock in the Texas Agri exemption. While the median home price in Fannin County jumped 16% last year, your holding costs stay low. While the industrial boom in Sherman does the heavy lifting for your value. This is the hole in the donut. It's the last undervalued entry point before the regional identity shifts completely. I don't know if you're following the news. Bonham is exploding right now with approval of multi-thousand acres of properties and homes at the moment in Bonham, Texas. So it's really a strategic location to be right now. From rural agriculture to high-end lake resort, you're buying the ground floor of a new economy. True love for your future is measured in foresight. Own more than 11 acres of the North Texas future today. All right, awesome. So we can tell already, it's just an explosive place. But let me show you the data. We showed the video to kind of show our investors what's going on there. For those of us that are not familiar with Texas, Dallas, the big one is Metroplex, DFW, old money, amazing place also. Then we have some big drivers right now. Top on the list right now is Sherman Explosion. We're talking about $60 billion investment. Insane, right? We have Walt Disney, we have McKinney Airport, we have the two largest lake in Texas in 30 years, Bodak Lake, then smaller lake, Lake Raft. So this is Rockston here. Close to Paris, Texas, another big industrial place out there. Bonham is exploding crazy right now too. So why Rockston, you can tell, it has a lot of strategic investment, proximity to a lot of growth right now. The two big lakes are just in the middle of Rockston right now. And you can tell here, look at the distance to all of these key areas, to Bonham, to DFW, to the east also. Amazing infrastructure growth within this axis. So Rockston is in between 20-mile radius of two massive lakes right now in Texas. The first one, $1.6 billion investment. The second one is about $700 million investment. So it's just in the center of both of those. Like anything else, you can tell already, Bonham is developing because of the proximity to Sherman. So people are really building industrial here. Rockston, proximity to Bonham makes it a very good spot for people that want to have large acreages and work in Bonham. Same thing for Paris, Texas here. But that's really the gist of it, why we chose it. At the moment, the current market value for 1 acre in that location is over $14,000. In our community, way lower than that. And somebody asks, why are we able to leverage? Simple, we go into community, we buy sometimes 200, 300 acres. So we can leverage price and get it at a discount for our community. So that's the whole idea about it. And it's been amazing. We've done over 1,500 acres within the last few years. So we're happy about that. And we work with the best mind out there so that you take advantage of everything, the farmers, our network, the conservation folks, the legacy nutrient deduction folks, like the ones we just saw right now. And even more importantly, also the fact that the value keeps rising and appreciating. So feel free, if you if it strike a chord, just click on the QR code here, join the group, and you can easily ping me also, or send an email to info@landzille.com, info@landzille.com. So thank you so much for attending, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk soon, everybody. Enjoy. Bye, everybody. Thank you for hanging. Don't forget to strike the like button, please, so more people can follow us on YouTube. Please strike the like button, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.